Hi all, it's Ben bringing you another product review. Today I bought and I'm going to put together a WORKPRO 72-inch tall, 48-inch wide, 24-inch width or length with 5-story shelf. So it came from Amazon like that, and I gotta say it looks a little beat up. So I'm gonna put together and hopefully it won't have any missing parts or issues. So here are all the parts unwrapped, and with anything you're going to build from IKEA or from WORKPRO, you've got to make sure, because usually they have an inventory in here of telling you what's included. So I went ahead and counted everything up. So I'm going to go ahead and actually start putting this together and talk about everything that you need to be careful of when you're putting this together. Technically, they say you just need no tools, but they recommend a rubber mallet because you're going to kind of tap the beams, these guys, into the posts, these guys. Oh no, indeed, buddy. And then they do point out to be very careful when you're putting in these wire frames. The 2 wires have to be on top. Don't have the 2 wires on the bottom because that's apparently per the instruction where the strength is. It's at the middle of the shelf. Middle of the shelf, you're going to notice 2 and 1. The 2 needs to be on top. All right, let's rock and roll. I just want to point out, they say build the bottom beam first, and the bottom always has to be at least 2, right down there at the bottom. Your bottom shelf will always be at the bottom. And then you build the second shelf before you extend the 4 posts. And another thing I want to point out is you have these guys, and here's the rivets that go into the vertical posts. You want to make sure that this flat shelf is on the top side, because this is where your wireframe shelf is going to go. Just to point out the vertical posts, you have 4 of these kinds with extra material and 4 of these smaller ones. These smaller ones are the lower post. Then this engages into this to build your full 72-inch shelf height. Okay, first you want to install the feet onto the very bottom post before you actually start attaching the shelves in. This is to protect your posts. I'd like to quickly point out they included extra feet because you could actually build a system of 2 shelves instead of 1 tall one. Completely up to you. This is the first beam. They say attach the 48-inch beam to the first bottom post. Bottom post doesn't have the extra material. You're actually going to engage, put the rivets in like this, and then it's going to slide up and lock. So that's where the rubber mallet comes in. They recommend using a rubber mallet and tapping this guy down. If you don't have a rubber mallet, the solution you can do is you can put this cardboard here and then take a regular hammer and tap it down. The rubber mallet is just to protect the shelf material. So I'm going to just go ahead and use this hammer and tap it down. Hammer, smashy smashy. And there you go. So I have my 4 posts. I'm going to put in the first shelf. Per the instructions, they recommend putting the 2 wires on top. That's where it gets its strength. Supposedly the whole shelf should be able to hold 800 pounds, distributed over 5. And then they say between each shelf, they recommend at least 11 holes before you put your next shelf. So they wouldn't recommend putting like the next shelf 4 or 5 holes up. They say at least 11 is the recommended way to go, all the way to the top. So extending the post up, you're going to put in this dude on all 4 sides, and you're going to use the top hole, pretty much this guy and this, because this actually has a little indentation to seat this. These 2 Gonna use the same process, just gonna hammer it down with my piece of cardboard. This guy here, and rock and roll. So here's the shelf in all its glory, completely assembled now. A few things I want to point out. Remember, these have to be pointed to the top, the two. One points to the bottom. The rails have to be, you know, pretty much the flat side up. Put the little feet in the bottom. This total shelf system, they said, can hold a total of 800 pounds. Not one shelf, but out of everything. So if you distribute it evenly, 800 pounds is about 160 pounds per shelf, which your mileage may vary. So I'm not sure. I'm not going to test it out with that much weight, but this is just going to hold just garage stuff. So if this thing fails, I'll definitely keep you guys posted. So anyways, total assembly time, excuse me, would probably be about, I don't know, under an hour if you did it by yourself. With two people, probably go a little faster. You don't need the rubber mallet. You can just use the hammer and cardboard, and that should probably do it. So anyways, thanks for watching.